Steve, what are you doing?
Oh, just putting eyebrows on the van.
Today, we are installing the Maxx Fan Deluxe by Maxx Air. We're going to put it in the roof of our van. I think it's going to take a couple hours to install, but Steve thinks it's going to take all day. I hope not, but I guess we'll find out. We gathered together our tools and materials shown here. As with almost everything else we've done so far, we decided the best way to start would be to make a template. If, like us, you lack experience or are just scared of making a giant hole in your van, a template is a great baby step to take to visualize everything, think things through, and hopefully calm those nerves. Ready to get this party started? We started out by using the cardboard template to mark the position of the fan on the roof. We measured several times to make sure we had the placement of the fan centered. When you're cutting a gaping hole in the roof of your van, it's kind of important to make sure you get it right the first time. Here you go. Big old trash can. Catch our shavings.
Okay, we're going to drill pilot holes in the four corners. We're going to start with a small drill bit and work our way up to a larger drill bit that the metal jigsaw blade will fit through. And this is the point of no return.
Safety first. Eye protection. And here are the holes. Once we had the pilot holes drilled, we used a larger bit so we could fit the jigsaw blade into the hole. After drilling the pilot holes in the corners, we used the roof receiving flange to check to make sure they were correct and to trace the cut.
As you might hear in the background, this day must have been National Roof Work Day. Not only were we doing roof work on our van, our neighbor was putting a new roof on their house, hence all the hammering noises in the background.
Very scientific method. I'm seeing if my angles are square. We put down painter's tape to help protect the paint and redrew our lines.
I worked up enough nerve to start making the first cut. The cutting was pretty slow going, mostly because I didn't want the saw getting away from me and accidentally cutting the van in half. Before cutting the last side, we used some duct tape to make sure the cut piece wouldn't come crashing down, potentially hurting Audra or anything else in the van.
Next, I filed down the rough edges around the hole. The sound of metal on metal sure is a pleasant sound. We apologize to the neighbors for all the awful noise we made during this step of our build. It kind of sounded like the sea lions we saw on our recent West Coast trip. We were sure to vacuum often throughout the process to clean up any metal shavings that could cause rust stains in the future. We don't want any rust forming on our pretty van. We've got to keep her looking good.
Next, we placed the roof receiving flange to see how it looked. Have you ever seen a nicer looking hole? It even comes with a view of palm trees. Can you just imagine sitting back enjoying the balmy tropical breezes and a cocktail? Well, that will have to wait. I started drilling pilot holes through the roof using the roof receiving flange as a guide.
3/16 of an inch over to the left.
Now that we had all the pilot holes drilled, we touched up the bare edges with Rust-Oleum paint.
We initially planned to purchase a $50 adapter for the vent since the roof is not even and there are grooves on each side. Instead, to save a little money, we decided to use a different method that we saw done by other YouTubers. We built up the uneven areas with butyl tape, a putty-like material used primarily as a sealant. In our case, we used it to prevent any water seeping under the vent and into the van. Butyl tape, butyl tape. That's pretty good. The butyl was a lot thinner than we had expected, and we had to use several layers of it in order to build it up enough. So one more on each edge?
Yep.
And hopefully it'll be level enough. Guess we'll find out. Moment of truth. We placed the roof receiving flange over the butyl tape.
Nice.
There it is. So what should happen is when we screw it down, the butyl tape should get kind of squished, that's the technical term, out, and everything should be fine. Let's hope that's the case. So next we're going to screw this down through, right? And I'm going to hold up your, what are these, braces, supports, to screw into?
Yep.
This is where I had to practice my contortionist skills and squeeze my body up through the hole to act as Steve's lovely assistant.
All right, you holding that? I'm going to do this one.
Yep.
I started drilling the screws to secure the flange to the roof. You can see here the wooden strips that we used on the underside so the screws had something to grip when they went through the thin metal of the roof.
I don't know when the last time was I used a drill.
Audra brushed up on her drilling skills to help secure the screws that were harder for me to reach.
Yep. Watch it fall. Tightening the roof receiving flange compressed the butyl tape as planned. I started removing the excess. I was very careful with the X-Acto knife not to scratch the paint. I think this is actually silly putty. It proved to be the perfect tool for trimming and removing the excess. My silly putty pile, my excess. See? Silly putty. Find some newspaper, put it down, try to make a cool design. As we mentioned earlier, you can never be too careful about making sure you clean up any metal shavings. And for any doubters out there, I 100% guarantee you that even the tiniest metal shavings left behind will leave a rust mark. We learned this the hard way, which we will address in a future episode. It's finally time to place the fan. How exciting. Do you need help?
Alright, we have learned the hard way that this clip is designed to slide up and down. I don't think they make mention of it in the owner's manual.
They don't, I just double checked. But thankfully I'd seen a video where someone had the same problem, where the
So,
holes didn't line up.
You need to, I guess, just guesstimate where it needs to be.
And try it again.
Try again.
So you're going to do the other one now?
Yes. Would have been nice to know beforehand.
Again. Do you help?
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
The whole process involved lots of awkward positions, leaning awkwardly off the ladder, through the hole in the roof.
All right.
Ready? Voila! Maxx Air fan. When we caulked, per the recommendation of other vanlifers, we decided to use Quad Max sealant instead of other commonly used sealants that tend to crack over time. It was hard to get a nice coverage over the screw heads, especially on the screws at the front. To reach those better, we closed the vent and then found that using a screwdriver to smooth out the caulk was much easier and neater for all the screws. Steve was right. The project pretty much took all day, not just a couple hours. Don't be deceived by the magic of YouTube and the tutorials you'll see. At least for us, everything seems to take a long time with a van build, even if it seems like it should be simple. We're pretty happy with the installation of the fan, even though we don't have a power source to run it yet. Tune in to future episodes to see how the fan works.
Well, that's a wrap. That is a roof vent wrap.
Maxx Air Deluxe style. With the bed platform built and the roof vent in place, we decided to do an overnight test run with our cats. We brought our mattress back in, threw down a rug, brought in some supplies to make the cats comfortable, and got super adventurous, spending our first night parked in the driveway.
What's the matter, buddy? Huh? What?
The cats were a little upset at first, then settled in for the most part.
What? That's a good boy.
We were glad to see that they enjoyed sitting on the back ledge of the bed platform, looking outside as we had hoped they would.
Well, we're all tucked in for our inaugural night in the van. We got the cats in.
We're in. The essentials are in.
We'll see how it goes.
We didn't get the best sleep. The cats were more active and needy than normal, probably a little on edge due to the new surroundings. We also slept at a slant all night due to the incline of our driveway. Once we were up in the morning, the cats started getting restless and vocal, but we wanted to get them used to being in the van while it's in motion, so we decided to take a short trip to the beach. Alright, let's get going. It's okay, Phaddy. Once on the road, Phaddy cried, but was definitely curious and wanted to look outside as we drove. Gray Gray stayed curled up under the blankets on the bed in the back. We hate to see the cats upset or stressed out, but we're trying to slowly and gently introduce them to life on the road. We enjoyed some peaceful moments at the beach while allowing the cats to get used to being parked in a new location with new sights to see. He's not crying anymore. Hi, my boy. You being a good boy? Instead of Where's Waldo, today's episode is Where's Gray Gray. Gray Gray, in her normal fashion, stayed hidden, not quite ready to face the change of scenery. I think she's under this little lump right here. Hi, Gray Gray. What you doing, little girl? You being a good girl? Huh? You being a good girl? Oh, he sees a puppy. What do you think of that, Phaddy? Huh? What do you think of that, Phaddy? Phaddy seemed to enjoy his new surroundings, watching people, dogs, and cars go by, and getting his first glimpse of the ocean. We headed back home, ready for whatever adventures the next steps of our van build will bring. We hope you'll join us next week to see what adventures are in store.
Well, I believe that is a wrap. The Maxx Air roof vent wrap.
Deluxe.
Oh, excuse me.
Deluxe.
Like everything else, took us 4 times as long as we thought it was going to, but I'm happy with the finish. I'm tired.
Finished product, final result?
Final is your phosphate.
Elfine. Go to your left a little bit. A little bit more forward. No. Sorry, back where you've been, I mean. Alright.
So what do you think?
I don't know. Eyebrows are a little bushy. Isn't it a lady van?
Ladies can have bushy eyebrows.
I guess.